Hi, everyone. Welcome to my podcast. I'm Frank Bustos with Vom Bustos House. And this is an introduction podcast, which I'm going to talk about what I'm going to be covering uh, in future podcasts. And I'm also going to open up the forum for questions. Um, I am located in Temecula, California. I've been breeding Rottweilers for the past 7 years. We're coming up on 8 years. Um, I have hundreds of people asking me questions all the time through text messages, through email, through Facebook and Instagram. They want to get on a personal level with me. Obviously, I'm busy. I have 2 kids. I have my wife. We have a ranch. We have a lot of animals, which, right now we're trying to downsize on the animals just because time is very consuming and a little bit tight on our end here. But the purpose of the podcast is to give you guys um, my personal experience as a breeder through these 7 years and help you guys with the Rottweiler breed, whether you want to be a breeder or whether you just want to own a Rottweiler for your family, for protection, and so on. So, throughout this podcast, I am going to go into more detailed information about a lot of topics. As I mentioned in one of my previous videos, um, we'll talk about whelping, we'll talk about breeding, you know, male versus a female. What should you start with? We'll talk about nutrition, um, what works for you and what works for your dog, right? We'll talk about setting up a whelping center. We'll talk about setting up a kennel. I know that I haven't shown my kennel. And the reason why I haven't shown it is because it's not ready. You know, it's not ready. And when I show something, I want it to be ready my way. I really need to like it. It needs to be professional. Just like when I post a video or when I post a photo, it really has to be professional because, you know, part of that is going to be marketing, which is another topic that I'm going to talk about. Marketing, sales, um, clients, uh, health testing, the dogs. What kind of health guarantee should you give out? I'm going to talk about contracts. Um, you know, what should you include in your contract and what you should not include in your contract. This is so that you can protect yourself, your family, and obviously your assets um, in a contract. Okay. Um, all this information, I'm going to give it out to you guys. And like I said, this is just personal information. This is my experience. If you guys, want to take it and follow it, it's fine. If you want to get that information with other sources and put it together, whatever works for you, um, you guys can make that happen. Okay. Like I said, we're gonna be very detailed in our future videos. I am gonna show you guys also our kennel, which we're building. It's been taking a lot of time to build, um, trial and error. What works for me, what works for the dogs, and I will show you guys a video once it's completed. Okay. Um, if you guys have any questions now, I'm open to answer questions. Oh, okay. From Angola, there's somebody watching from Angola. Thank you for your support. Thank you for watching. And when you guys get a chance, you guys can go ahead and subscribe also to my Spotify, which is which will be available on all the podcasts that we're going to be recording. Von, how's Flores? How are you? I've seen your dogs, man. They look great. You're doing a good job. Keep it up, man. Okay, guys. So we're scheduled to do a first podcast. I'm going to take a survey and see what is it that you guys want me to discuss first. Um, like I said, we can talk about anything. We can talk about importing as well. We're going to talk about a lot of things that other people don't tell you. You know, for example, if somebody's selling a female, why is that female being sold? Somebody imported a female, and now that female is being sold. So there could be 12 reasons of why you know us as breeders sell these females. And I'm going to talk into details of what to look for, what to ask um, when these females are being up for sale. Also the studs. Um, as you guys know, I had very nice studs. I have two super nice studs right now. Um, I have sold studs, and there's various reasons why I've sold them. A lot of them, I've had offers. It's not that I have them for sale. I just had offers, and that's why they're no longer with me. And we got to change production. We got to see how these dogs produce. We have to like what they produce. That's one of the key points. You have to like what you have. If you go out to your kennels, to your setup, your backyard, wherever it is that you have your dogs, you have to look at every single one of them and you have to like them. Um, what is it? The question? Oh, so 7 years ago when I started breeding, uh, I was one of the very first ones who imported the Timmy Tor bloodline. Now, I was criticized a lot, and everybody talked about me when I first started breeding. This was 7 years ago, because I was the first one who started importing from Timmy Tor, Darko in Serbia, and he can confirm this. I imported a pregnant female, and my clients used to come to me, and they used to tell me that breeder A, breeder B, breeder C used to say that Frank didn't know what he was doing. He's importing dogs that are not to the standard. But see, I didn't care. I didn't care back then, and I don't care what people say even now. Um, because now a lot of people are into this new type of Rottweiler look, more than just the standard. So I do carry Timmy Tor bloodline. I do carry the Edelstein bloodline, and now I have about 6 females from my own Vom Bustos bloodline that I will be breeding next year. Um, and you guys have seen maybe a couple of these females and a couple of litters that I've already had from females that I kept, a year ago. Uh, my favorite male is man. This is a tough one. It's really a tough one. Um, it's like saying what's your best uh, hamburger restaurant or steak restaurant? It's tough. I really like one of my favorites. I would say is Remo, Timmy Tor. Another one I would say is definitely Eminem. Um, these guys have been consistent in their production. I do have offsprings from both in my kennel, um, and I am going to. And with those bloodlines, I have been getting the outcome of the puppies, like I said, that I've kept for the breeding of next year. Um, Another tip that I can give out now, if we're gonna talk a little bit about, for those of you that are just gonna start doing the breeding or that have been doing breeding for the last 6 months, like I said, when I started doing the breeding, everybody used to talk about me. Um, why is Frank importing? Why is he importing this bloodline? Why is he using this? Why is he using that? And now, you know, everybody back then who was talking is now doing, is not following my steps, which I am okay with that. I'm a very transparent guy. I, I always keep everything to myself. I never talk about other breeders. That's one thing that I started from the very beginning, um, and that's one advice that I can give you. As a breeder for 7 years now, going on 8. Um, you want to talk about yourself, and you want to talk about your production. You don't want to talk about anybody else unless you have something positive to say. But usually, when I get asked a question of what do you think about breeder A or breeder B, my response is, you know, I can answer you questions about myself, about Von Bustos, and about my dogs. I can't answer questions about anybody else outside. So, I like to see on a male, I like to see bone. I like to see structure. I like to see a male with a big head. Um, Height wise, I'm not too concerned about it, but obviously he cannot be like a miniature pincher, right? He has to be, you know, a good sized dog. When I look at a female, she has to have a nice head. She has to obviously also have bone. I like them to have straight backs, and obviously I don't want their feet to be east west. I like the colors. To me, the rich mahogany is my favorite. And I know that a lot of people do prefer the rust color, which is the color of Sergeant. But to me, I like Commander color, the rich, dark mahogany colors. So, temperament to me is one of the most important things. The dogs have to have a nice temperament. Obviously, they have to be health tested, and let's talk about health tests. Um, if you don't health test your dogs for hips and elbows, JLPP, and the heart, it's gonna come down and it's gonna haunt you in the long run. Because keep in mind that genes are genes, DNA is DNA, and if you don't test your dogs for heart, and you will never know that they have a heart murmur. And down the line, when you breed that dog and you get a puppy with a heart murmur and you sell it to a family and they pay good money for it, and now it becomes, a family member to them, and they're gonna come back to you and they're gonna say, "Look, there's a heart murmur, and it's grade 5, and the puppy is probably not gonna make it." Then obviously, that's something that you don't want to uh, give that to the family, and also you don't want to give those type of issues to yourself. And I've learned this throughout the times that I've been breeding. um, Temperament is super important. All my dogs have great temperament. you know if there's a dog that doesn't have a great temperament, I will do my best to train the dog, um, even take it to a professional trainer or other sources. But if I just see that it's not going to be fixed, or that it's in his genes, then I don't breed it again, because I don't want my clients to call me at 6 months or 8 months and say, "Hey Frank, the dog bit my daughter, or the dog bit a Chihuahua," right? I don't want that. So these are the things that you have to work on if you want to be a breeder, so that you don't run into these problems in the future, right? Um, so I mean, this is important stuff. Um, you shouldn't breed if your dog has health issues whatsoever. Um, it's not good for your program, and obviously it's not good for the family that the puppy is going to. Um, you have to look at both of the parents' temperaments, and then you can select the puppy, and most likely that puppy is going to inherit the traits from those parents. So that's why it's important that you see the parents. It's important that as a client, or even as a breeder, when you're going to pick out a puppy, for to start your breeding program, you want to make sure that everybody's health tested, and you want to make sure that the parents have great temperament, that it's coming from a good breeder, um, that it's coming from a nice environment, that they're socialized. All that is important. um, so one of the biggest challenges I would say as a breeder is it's around the whelping part of it. So whelping is very difficult, and for some reason, the Rottweiler breed is not an easy breed, right? People think, I get a male, I get a female, I put them together, they're gonna have puppies. The puppies are gonna, feed off the mom for at least 4 weeks, and then I just throw kibbles, and then they grow, and then I give them the shots, and that's it. No, it's very challenging, and to make it less challenging, you need to have a setup that is going to work. Again, it's got to work for you, and it's got to work for the dogs. It's got to work for the mom. It's got to work for the puppies. One of the most important things I would say too is having everything organized and having everything super clean, and always cleaning, um, always disinfecting, because when they're puppies, they step on the poop, they eat the poop. So that has been very challenging, and it's very tough as a breeder when you have a female, she's pregnant, she's got 8 puppies, and then all of a sudden it's time for labor, and all the puppies are gone, and you have no idea what happened. The vet has no idea what happened. They're just gone, and your work, your investment, your time, it just goes down the drain. So I would say the most challenging thing is the whelping part of it. So the once the puppies are 3 weeks old, I start separating them from the mom, and I just give them to the mom 3 times throughout the day. Once they're 3 to 4 weeks old, it just depends, right? So, if I have a litter of 10 puppies, then obviously, they're going to be smaller puppies. If I have a litter of 5 puppies, the puppies are going to be bigger. And the timing is always different. The growth of the puppies is also always different. But I would say between 3 weeks is when I start getting them. I start removing them from the whelping box, and I put them in crates, and then I start. I get them and I latch them to the mom, and I start introducing them to wet kibbles. Okay, guys, and like I said, in the future, I am going to provide more detailed information. I am open for you guys to send me messages on my Instagram or on Facebook, or on text messages of what you guys want me to cover in details. I will be going over the Whelping Center, where to buy your material, progesterone machine, ultrasound. Um, we're going to talk about obviously progesterone and testing, and when is the right time to breed the female, um, and a lot of more information that I'm going to be providing to everybody. Okay, so um, stay tuned. Like I said, this is just kind of like an introduction. um, Also, it's a test, that we're doing for the podcast, and the future videos will be more detailed information. Okay, so like I said, just stay tuned. If there's no other questions, um, then we're gonna go ahead, and I know it's Friday. Everybody enjoy your weekend. Tomorrow I have a birthday party going on for my daughter. She's 4 years old. Can't believe time just goes by so quick. Um, but everybody enjoy your weekend. If there's any questions that you guys have, go ahead and shoot me a message. Like I said, through Instagram, Facebook, or you guys could just text me. Okay. Thank you guys for your support and for watching, and we'll be right back. Stay tuned.